What we witnessed Novak Djokovic pull off against Jannik Sinner in this Australian Open semi-final wasn't simply a victory on the scoreboard. It served as a stark, undeniable reminder of his identity, his brand of dominance, and his uncanny ability to completely disregard the laws of time logic and realistic expectations. At 38 years of age, the Serbian legend battled through 5 grueling sets, toppling one of the planet's premier talents in his absolute prime to secure a spot in yet another major final where Carlos Alcaraz awaits with history hanging in the balance. We are talking about a shot at his 25th Grand Slam title. From the opening serve, the atmosphere was thick with gravity, especially considering Sinner entered this contest as the tournament's most in-form competitor. The Italian was cool collected and riding a wave of recent dominance against Novak. Conversely, Djokovic stepped onto the court surrounded by whispers regarding his current form, his physical durability, and whether Father Time was finally collecting his due. What transpired over the next few hours was a performance that silenced every single critic. Sinner actually stormed out of the gates dictating play with absolute authority. He was striking the ball cleanly from both sides, particularly off that lethal backhand wing, going toe-to-toe with Djokovic in the early rallies and refusing to blink. His service games were impenetrable, his court positioning was dangerously aggressive, and his self-belief was palpable. On the other side of the net, Novak looked uncharacteristically tight, struggling to hit with depth and spraying more unforced errors than we are used to seeing. However, as the clock ticked on, the contest morphed into a tactical chess match. Djokovic began to elongate the points, probing Sinner's patience and dragging him into awkward, physically taxing exchanges. Sinner fired back with fearless aggression, hugging the baseline and refusing to retreat, unleashing heavy artillery to keep the veteran on the back foot. The level of tennis was astronomical, featuring marathon rallies, impossible angles, and a suffocating intensity radiating from both ends of the court. When Sinner snatched the early momentum, it genuinely felt like we were witnessing the changing of the guard, a moment where the young prodigy finally eclipses the master on his favorite hunting ground. Yet Novak Djokovic has constructed an entire legacy on surviving precisely these types of crises. Slowly, almost invisibly, the momentum began to shift back toward the 24-time major champion. His return started finding the toes, his footwork became sharper, and his signature ability to absorb pace and redirect it began to erode Sinner's composure. The rallies grew longer, heavier, and significantly more brutal. Novak was not attempting to hit harder than Sinner, he was aiming to outlast him. By the time we arrived at a deciding 5th set, this clash had already cemented its status as an instant classic in Australian Open history. The physical exhaustion was etched on both their faces. Every service hold became a war of attrition, and every breakpoint felt like a pivot point for the entire sport's history books. And this is exactly the territory where Djokovic distinguishes himself from virtually every other athlete to ever pick up a racket. In that 5th set, Novak's reservoir of experience proved insurmountable. He elevated his game when the pressure was crushing, landing critical first serves and navigating the pivotal points with absolute mental clarity. While Sinner displayed moments of brilliance, Djokovic demonstrated mastery and control. When the Italian pushed, the Serbian absorbed the blow and countered. It was not always spectacular, but it was undeniably ruthless. At 38, Djokovic moved with intent, defended with high tennis IQ, and struck with surgical precision. His anticipation of Sinner's patterns late in the match was nothing short of extraordinary, as he cut off the angles and coerced errors at the most critical junctures. When the final break of serve occurred, it felt like destiny. As Djokovic served out the match, the raw emotion was visible. This was far more than just another check in the win column. This was a declaration to himself, a warning to his rivals, and a statement to the tennis world that the king is still on the throne, still dangerous, and still capable of conquering the elite over 5 sets. This triumph propels Novak into yet another Grand Slam final, extending a career that borders on the mythological, and the prize awaiting him is monumental. Sunday's final will be against Carlos Alcaraz. It is the blockbuster showdown the entire world was hoping for, a clash of generations pitting explosive youth against seasoned precision. It is the future of the sport colliding with its greatest living architect. Alcaraz enters the final fresh off his own epic survival, having displayed immense courage and physical resilience. Meanwhile, Djokovic arrives, having reaffirmed that when the chips are down, he remains the most formidable competitor the sporting world has ever witnessed. His motivation could not be clearer. Victory on Sunday would secure his 25th major, extending the all-time record and solidifying a legacy that may stand untouched for centuries. Logically, at 38, he should not be doing this, and yet here he stands. This semifinal victory over Sinner will be archived as an era-defining performance. It was the day the old guard refused to fade away, when wisdom triumphed over youthful momentum, and when unshakable belief carried a champion through 5 brutal hours of combat. Novak Djokovic has booked his ticket to another Grand Slam final, and history is knocking on the door once again. Who is your pick for the title, Djokovic or Alcaraz? Let me know your predictions in the comments section below. If you enjoyed this update, make sure to follow for more coverage. We will see you tomorrow for the big match preview.